Please welcome Sebastian Tonzili, CNRS.
Hello, my name is Sebastian Tonzili. I am with the French CNRS, where I am a scientific deputy director in charge of quantum science and technologies. At CNRS, we launch about 100 startups a year, and today I'm very excited to present a very disruptive one named Alice&Bob. Alice&Bob is involved in next-generation quantum processors that attract a lot of attention today. The startup shows everything we like. First, a disruptive concept, namely that of cat quantum bits that are intrinsically immune to errors, a concept that finds its roots in blue sky research. Second, cutting-edge technology development based on strong IP. Third, a very well-driven and EU-wide business model. And fourth, an excellent and multifaceted team composed by its founder and CEO, Théo Perronin. Having an excellent scientist who is also a great CEO is rare, and here we have an exceptional one. In the name of all the French academic partners to Alice&Bob, I wish all the best to Théo and his startup for this Falling Walls adventure. Thank you.
Breaking the wall of quantum errors. Théo Perronin, Alice&Bob.
Nearly 40 years ago, Richard Feynman, one of the most famous physicists of all time, was working on improving the performances of computers when he realized if we could build a computer ruled by the rules of quantum mechanics, we could leverage the richer mathematics of quantum physics and exponentially speed up computing. At the time, it was merely a thought experiment, as no one had controlled individual quantum systems, let alone build machines out of it. 40 years later, this is now becoming a reality. We can control quantum systems like never before, and many tech companies are racing to build computers out of it. The first generation of those computers already demonstrate that this new era of computing is within mankind's grasp. In this new era of computing, we will be able to solve in an instant problems that would otherwise require billions of years to solve with classical supercomputers. Those problems range from designing incredible materials, training better AI, solving complex optimization problems, or even designing exactly new chemicals or new drugs. This would unlock a value created in hundreds of billions of dollars and completely change the way we do science, the way we innovate. But, and there is always a but, to get there, we need to tackle an enormous challenge, taming quantum errors. You see, building a quantum computer in itself is a paradox. On one hand, you want a system that behaves quantum mechanically, meaning that it has to be perfectly isolated from the rest of the world. And on the other hand, you want that machine to be a computer that you can control input data, output results, and merging the two is tremendously challenging. Leading players in that race estimate it will take them at least a decade to get there. This is where Alice&Bob intervenes. We are breaking the wall of quantum errors. We invented a dramatic shortcut to build ideal quantum computers that enables us to build the world's first universal, fault-tolerant quantum computer by 2025, a decade earlier than our competitors. How do we do that? Well, instead of using an extreme level of redundancy to correct for errors like our competitors envisioned, at Alice&Bob, we took the time to redesign the building block, the quantum bit, so that it directly integrates autonomous error correction within it by design. This novel qubit, called the CAT qubit, reduces the amount of overhead, the amount of complexity required by 1,000-fold. This game-changing approach is built on over a decade of research by our scientific founders. And even though it has only been 18 months since we released our results, we are already seeing competitors start to follow suit, like Amazon. Indeed, the third chip we built to demonstrate this technology proved unprecedented performances at correcting for errors. We published this chip in Nature Physics in February 2020, and we launched the company at the same time. This chip is a fairly standard superconducting chip cooled at 10 millikelvin and controlled through microwave pulses. What is new is the layout, the engineering, the way we stabilize quantum information through autonomous error correction. And thanks to its unprecedented performances, it immediately put Alice&Bob at the forefront of the quantum race. Alice&Bob is 18 months old. We are an international team of nearly 30 people, mostly PhDs, coming from top-tier academic groups throughout the world. We secured IP and started building an ecosystem of industrial early adopters, such as Thales, Total, EDF, to test our technology on real-world use cases. We raised 5 million euros to venture capitalist pre-incorporation and were recently awarded the EIC funding. We are still accelerating to be the first and leading provider of exponential quantum computing to the industry as a service. This is the beginning of a moonshot, where we are trying to make Europe the cradle of quantum computing, to change the way we innovate, the way we do science. And it all started by breaking the wall of quantum errors. Thank you.
On fait des Q&A en français, non? Qu'est-ce que tu penses?
Parfait.
OK, super. OK, we do it in French now. First question. Here we have a first question.
You can start over there.
Oh, OK.
So Marcus here. So,
OK.
My question would be your technology approach in order to reduce the error rate. You didn't talk about that. So what's your approach, and how is it differentiated to what other people are doing?
So the physical support is still superconducting circuits like many other players, Google, IBM, Rigetti, to name a few. What differs is the kind of electrical circuit we design. And it's a very different paradigm that we are bringing to the table. See, when Google and IBM try to improve their qubit, what they do is they try to isolate it as much as possible from the rest of the world. What we do is exactly the opposite. We couple it to the environment, but in a very controlled manner. We invented a way to exchange photons 2 by 2, and that stabilized 2 states in a quantum oscillator. So it's a really radical new approaches, and that enables to correct for bit flips natively.
The next question was here?
Same question, basically, but maybe one more. You said you created 1 qubit. Now you need a few more in coherence to do this. Does your approach allow for coherence over several qubits? Because you're interacting with the system. It kind of sounds weird.
Yeah, so we have a very clear and published roadmap on how to assemble those cat qubits together to build a universal fault-tolerant quantum computer without requiring new performances, new physics. We just, and it's a major just, need to scale the number of qubits to demonstrate that whole roadmap.
OK, next question. I mean, talking about bright minds here, come on, quantum, you know.
It's the end of the day. They may be tired.
I know. I mean, you're breaking the wall of quantum errors, so you have to really...
I will just follow up from complete ignorance. What is in that just?
OK, so yeah, so it's a very good question. So what we're doing at the moment is that we're at the first step of implementing our roadmap. So we're coupling 2 of those cat qubits together. The way we do it is fairly standard in the field. I mean, with a slightly more fancy to be compatible with our autonomous error correction. Nevertheless, still state-of-the-art, current state-of-the-art. And then we're increasing the number of qubits. So we have 2 steps to do so. Currently, we're fabricating our chips in academic clean rooms. And we started partnerships with foundries like the CEA, Leti at Grenoble to scale up our production.
OK, yes, we have here another question. Thank you. The microphone is coming. Here we go.
How far are you from commercialization, and any idea of cost competitiveness vis-à-vis the other quantum computers? OK,
so what we are doing with our early adopters is twofold. First, we are producing a digital twin, so a classical simulation with accurate performances to let them play around on a small-scale problem that they can tackle, but with accurate depiction of the machine we're building. At the same time, we're building that device. So as we increase the number of logical qubits, we will be distributing those machines and increasing the pricing model. The timeline here is, let's say, ramping up to 2024, and the pricing range, to give you an order of magnitude, it's exactly the same infrastructure cost as Google and IBM, meaning the base cost of a quantum computer is about, let's say, in the 10 million euro range. And the value you can estimate just through the current pricing in the market is about 24 million euros per machine per year. But it's still very cost-based, and it will depend on the use cases we can tackle.
Okay, I think that was the last question. So thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.